Yo, what's good, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to another Tyler Perry Sistas review. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, then you already know what it is and what it always will be. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody if you choose to, but if not, just sit back, relax while we get into this thing. It's not a messy thing today, but we're going to get into some things. So if you look at the thumbnail, you see that we're going to talk about Fatima. And I know there are some people who may not be looking at your screens right now. You may be driving or listening to me while you're at work, but there is a warning label that's on the screen right now because I'm going to be talking about, two very heavy topics. One is abortion and the other is a miscarriage as it pertains to the character of Fatima. And I just wanted to make sure that I was being respectful, courteous, and sensitive to anyone who may find this topic, triggering. I just wanted to make sure that you were made very aware what will be discussed within this video. So I'm going to give you some time to click off if you know this is something that's not for you, that's not in your wheelhouse. So you can go ahead and click off. All right. So for those of us who are staying on, after I published my last video, I did not know that there were so many people who were unaware that Fatima had a miscarriage in addition to her abortion. And for those who didn't know, you can check out Sistas season 6, episode 18 is when Fatima goes into detail. But I'm going to play a little clip as much as I can play right now.
I was 17, and as you know, my mom and dad were really strict. And there was this boy in the neighborhood that they warned me about, and they told me to stay away from him. But despite them, I hung out with him, and I ended up getting pregnant. Sadly, I lost a baby.
So referring back to my previous video where I discussed Fatima barging into Tamara's house and they get into a physical altercation. Now, we have witnessed Fatima do this several times. She's done it to Hayden's house twice, and she walked up into Karen's house before as well. Now, is that on brand for Fatima? Absolutely. But is it on brand for a pregnant Fatima? Absolutely not, at least in my opinion. Now, Fatima's not my favorite character, but I just don't see baby girl doing this. And this is something that Erica and myself was talking about on the last Our Sisters Keeper, how the writers really dropped the ball with a lot of storylines. And I don't know, and I did not verify if a woman wrote this past episode or this upcoming, I'll find out next week who wrote this particular episode that's coming up. But they truly miss the emotional turmoil that a woman goes through when you lose a child, whether it's by a miscarriage, whether you had to terminate a pregnancy. There are certain emotional trials and tribulations that you endure simply because you're human. Above all, do I believe that Fatima is a bully? Absolutely. But above all else, Fatima is a woman, and Fatima is a woman who has experienced great loss twice. And so when we look at this clip, we find out that Fatima had a miscarriage at the tender age of 17. I couldn't even imagine. I could not imagine going through something so traumatic at that young of an age when you're talking about losing a child. Also, we know that Fatima allowed her ex Ian to talk her into getting an abortion, something that she did not want to do, but she did it all for the sake of love because she loved him, is what he wanted, and she obliged.
And then you got me pregnant. And you talked me into an abortion. Damn, Mom. I'm not finished. And before I was even healed, you came to me and told me it was over. And then you were going to marry her.
So we have this woman who has experienced, again, 2 great losses, and she's pregnant with a child at this current place in Sistas. It is so hard for me to believe that Fatima will walk herself into harm's way as she's carrying a child when she's already experienced loss twice. And so the writers, as I'm trying to be cool, calm, and collected, okay, with this video. But as a woman who has experienced a loss like that, they have done the character of Fatima a great disservice. And I will continue to stand on the fact that this season, they truly tried the character of Fatima because they haven't given her anything to do. And when I think about a woman who has experienced loss, she's pregnant now, she will be more calculated with her decisions. Regardless of how the writers want to make Fatima appear to be, big, bad, bold, can do anything she wants to do, regardless of whom it is. To me, that narrative just doesn't work anymore, and it definitely doesn't work while she's pregnant. Because what pregnant woman is really, rolling around the streets of Atlanta just whooping everybody's ass, carrying a gun, believing that she has the ability to protect herself? And my whole thing is, when you walk into someone's home, you don't know what's on the other side of that door. So putting Fatima in that type of situation, it behooves me. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. I think the writers are just, and I've said this several times, I really don't like to be harsh in my commentary, but at this point, it just is what it is, and I don't give two damns. This is unbelievable. Okay, straight up, this is unbelievable. And not only do we have Fatima going to have a physical altercation with Tamara, we have her walking into the law firm with a bat. What are you gonna do with that? And I'm gonna pause. Because for those of us who watch Zatima, and for those of you who don't, I'm gonna bring you up to par, but it's gonna be real quick. So you guys heard me talk about in a previous video that Zach beat the hell out of his brother. He was in jail. Fatima went to go visit him. And Fatima, don't get me wrong, she was making valid points. She's pregnant. She has to be concerned about the health of her child. She has to be concerned about her own individual health, that she's not putting herself in stressful situations that could possibly result in losing her child, making herself sick, further complications. And I understood everything that sis was saying. Yet, we see her on Sistas doing the exact same thing that she was getting on Zach on Zatima. How? It just doesn't make sense. I want the writing to at least be truthful. I'm already at a place where I know we're not going to get grade A quality content. I get that. Can y'all just give us a D? Can we please just, rise up from the Fs? Can y'all give us a D effort? Because this thing with Fatima is so wild. It's so wild to me. I just wanted, really to understand, how long did the writers believe that they could truly go on with making Fatima this fighter, making Fatima everybody's bodyguard? She's super save-a-hole for Zach, for Andy, and now for Danny. There are just certain things that just does not make sense to me. And I don't understand. Like, you have to do more. First of all, and I'm going to say this, Fatima is a lot of people's favorite. It is what it is. She's also not a lot of people's favorite. It is what it is. But at some point, you have to give this character some depth. And also, even with the character of Fatima on Zatima, I'm going to be quite frank with y'all. That show should be called Zach. It should be called the Zach Show. Because honestly, Fatima is there as a side character. Because that entire show is about Zach. Don't get me wrong. They'll try to sprinkle, remnants of Fatima's past in there. But the show is not about her. The show is centered around Zachary Taylor. It's almost as if Fatima's development doesn't matter. If you gonna have her there, give her something to do other than cleaning up Zach's messes. This is a woman who is pregnant. And we also saw in last week's episode, her fiance forgot the fact that she was pregnant. And we just bypassed that as if it didn't happen. It was almost laughable. We just gonna laugh it off. Oh, that's Zach being Zach. No, I hate what they have done to this woman's character. Like, literally, I absolutely despise it. But it would have done my heart great joy if we could have watched Fatima have an emotional moment. The fact, you ever been in a situation where you wanted to do something so badly and you just knew, you know what, this is not best for me to do. And you get to the point that you're crying, and not that you crying because you hurt, you crying because you frustrated and you can't act out the way that you absolutely want to. I would have taken that. But the fact that we actually see Fatima going to Tamara's house to talk, that's the cover up she used. I'm just going to talk. I ain't going to do nothing. I didn't believe that the moment it came out of her mouth. Hell, Fatima didn't believe it either. Because you already know who you dealing with. Tamara is not a pushover. You're not going to say anything that you want to say to this woman. And I have been in conversation with a few people on Instagram about Fatima's behavior in this upcoming episode. And so many people were telling me, well, Tamara shouldn't have tried to take the phone out of Fatima's hand. And I'm like, I'm going to call BS on that, because Fatima shouldn't have been in Tamara's house anyway. Because when Tamara opens the door, she tries to shut it, and Fatima bum rushes herself in. Now, also, there are those, I'm just saying, I'm there too. If you don't give a damn about your pregnancy, if you don't give a damn about your child, why should anyone else either? Because what this upcoming episode reveals to me is that Fatima is not concerned about the life that is growing inside of her. And like I've stated, I'm not the biggest Fatima fan, but I do not believe that. I believe that Fatima wants to protect this child above all, based on what we know about her. I believe Fatima would do anything to preserve and protect the life of her unborn child. Yet these sorry ass writers are putting this woman in a position where she could possibly do damage to herself. That does not make sense. Even with Zach, it is not on brand. This woman is pregnant. The Zachary Taylor that I know, even though he gets on my damn nerves, at the end of the day, Zach is a protector. Above all, Zach is a protector. He gonna ride for who he loves. He's going to protect. There is no way in the world that Zach is going to allow or let a pregnant Fatima go to Hayden and Tamara's house by herself. It just wouldn't happen. Writers, I don't know what y'all doing, but y'all are missing the mark in so many ways. You guys have literally sucked the soul. It wasn't much in it, but damn it, y'all have literally sucked the soul out of Sistas. Because in what world? It just wouldn't happen. But I really wanted to just talk to everybody about the particular narrative about Fatima. Because yes, she's a fighter, she's all of that, but at the end of the day, she's a woman. And she's a woman who has suffered great loss. And she is a woman who is like in a redemptive position because she has the ability to bring forth life again. And I know that Fatima would protect that with everything in her. And these dumbass writers, I do mean to call y'all dumb. You may not be dumb, you may be intelligent, but the way that you are writing this woman at this point is downright ridiculous. And for me to do a video on Fatima about a character that I really don't give two damns about like that, you're going too far. Because at least I believe that Fatima would walk into Karen's house. I believe that Fatima would walk into Hayden's house. I believe she would destroy his stuff because it's on brand for her, and we've watched her do it. But when we have seen the sensitive, vulnerable side of Fatima when it comes to the abortion that she had with Ian, when it came to her miscarriage that she had as a 17-year-old girl, this is a different woman that we are viewing. And you guys have literally destroyed that. Where is the woman who cried as she sat across from Ian and was able to effectively convey how getting that abortion made her feel? Where is the woman who was sitting in this car on the passenger side of Zach and be able to talk about a situation that she never wanted to bring up again, but she brought it up to let him know that she could relate to what he was going through? Where is that person? Y'all have completely stripped that side of Fatima out, and I need y'all to bring it back, even though I don't have no expectation of y'all. I really don't. But I am curious, for women who may have brought a child into the world, who may have been expecting to bring a child into the world, and for whatever reasons, you weren't able to do that. It wasn't in the plan for your life at the moment, or whatever the case may be. As you're watching this show, for those who watch the preview and you listen to my video and you know what's going to come up next with Fatima fighting Tamara, I'm really curious about your thoughts. If you've even given it any thoughts about Fatima's character actually doing this and you actually believing that she would do this. Just as a woman who is, don't get me wrong, all women are not natural nurturers or protectors. But what we have seen of Fatima, we know that she is on brand for that. Because for the life of me, I can't understand why Fatima rides so hard for Andy. And Andy, to me, has not done one thing to make Fatima be as loyal as she is. But that's a whole nother video for a whole nother time. But I really do. I want to thank you guys for listening. This was a different tone of a video, because I know a lot of people feel I don't like Fatima, and that's cool. I just don't like how they have written her. I don't like that they literally don't give her anything to do. I feel like Fatima is a character that literally coasts her way through the show because she's played by Crystal. And I don't want to feel that way, but I do. I need them to give her some depth. I need them to give her something that she can carry. I need them to breathe life into Fatima's character again, other than just giving her moments to beat people's asses, because we're tired of that. We don't want to see it no more. Give her something. I want to thank y'all for listening to my TED Talk. But I want to thank you guys for listening. Until next time, I will holler at y'all later, and y'all be safe out there. One.